Hi everyone, welcome back to another Pokemon trading card game video, and today you will be seeing a video of a battle between me and Michael, who I have showed off in several previous videos, and I am playing a deck that a lot of you have been requesting for months. That's right, time has finally come for me to show off a Miltank deck. And the reason this deck got so popular is, for 1 energy, Miltank could potentially deal out 110 damage all on its own. The way it works is, its attack is called Powerful Friends. It requires 1 energy and deals 10 damage. But wait, you say, didn't you just say it deals 110? Not just 10? Well, let me explain. See, Powerful Friends it normally deals 10, but if there is a Stage 2 Pokemon on your bench, then it deals an additional 70. All of a sudden, that's 80 damage. On top of that, if Miltank has a Silver Bangle attached to it, and it's up against an EX, then all of a sudden, you're adding 30. So 80 plus 30 is 110. So you can see how that is pretty powerful. Unfortunately, a lot of people wanted for me to make a Miltank Greninja deck, and I didn't have the Greninjas on me, but I did have Empoleons. Plus, after seeing the match at Nationals of the senior winner playing a Miltank Empoleon deck, very similar to the one that I'm running now, I decided, you know what, that looks a bit more consistent, I think I'll try that. So I did. And this is actually one of the first battles that I actually did with this deck. I don't have anyone else to really play against except at League, so I decided to bring this there and see how I did. And as you can see, those are awesome Finnegan sleeves. I got those at Target, which also sells Chespin and Froakie, so if you guys want to get some of your own, just go there and go to the trading card game section and you'll undoubtedly find them. So to bring you up to speed, I had already mulliganed once, meaning I had no basics in my hand, so Michael had to put a die on his deck to indicate that he could draw an extra card for his turn. And the way the rules work now is you have to put a die on your deck to count up how many mulligans your opponent has before you can actually draw your cards. You can't just draw them as they go. I don't know why they made that change. No one really knows. It's just the way it is now. So I luckily am going first. And usually if you run a Stage 2 deck, you always want to go first. Unfortunately there, I started out with a lone Miltank and could do literally nothing else except just Shauna on my first turn. And I am running a variant that is preparing for the next format, where most importantly, Tropical Beach is rotated out and Level Ball is rotated out. So that definitely limits your options. Level Ball has always been really good for this kind of deck. It helps you get those smaller basics that you need to put on your bench. And then I found out, you know, just running 4 Ultra Ball, you're going to end up discarding a lot of stuff that you won't want to. So what I ended up doing is I ended up running 2 Ultra Ball and 2 Great Ball just to see how it works. And Great Ball actually works really well with this kind of deck. Right there, I benched a Piplup and a Miltank that I got off my Shauna, then used an Escape Rope to bring the Trubbish up. I can see right away that I'm up against a Trubbish deck of some kind, a Garbodor deck of some kind, which means that I need to knock out the Trubbish and or Garbodor as soon as possible. Abilities shut down my deck very quickly. There's nothing I can do after my abilities are shut down. It shuts down my Execute with its propagation ability. The text of the card says once during your turn, but the effect happens to reset every single time you use it. So, in essence, as often as you like during your turn, when Execute is in your discard pile, you can just put it back into your hand. Doesn't seem very good, does it? Well, pair it with Empoleon's ability, which is Diving Draw. Discard 1 card from your hand and draw 2 cards from your deck. You see where I'm going with this? With Empoleon in play, you can just propagation the Execute back into your hand, and then discard it with Diving Draw, in essence giving yourself 2 free cards. So Michael did a lot there. He benched 2 Darkrai and a Sableye during his turn, attached 2 Sableye, used Dark Patch onto Darkrai, and now he's promoted his Sableye and junk hunted for 2 items. And Sableye is getting rotated out next format as well. Michael is using a deck called Hammertime. That has seen a lot of play. It's very useful, very powerful, very popular. Unfortunately, it's basically done next format. It's losing Sableye, which has always been necessary to get those items back, particularly the hammers. It's losing one of the hammers themselves. It's losing Enhanced Hammer, which is really huge against decks like Plasma, which rely exclusively on special energy. Basically, all you're left with in the next format is Crushing Hammer and Team Flare Grunt. That's definitely not enough to really make a consistent deck with. So he's just playing this for fun. Our local league in a couple weeks is going to start a new kind of unsanctioned tournament. It'll be using the current format as of right now, because Furious Fist is not released yet. No new format has been revealed yet, so it's currently Next Destinies through Flash Fire. So he's just trying this out, seeing if maybe he'll want to do this at that tournament. And I wasn't able to get a Stage 2 out there. I really needed a Rare Candy and an Empoleon, but I did not get it. I got basically a Piplup and an Energy, and I was able to Powerful Friends for 10 damage. That's not how Powerful Friends is supposed to work. But I figure, you know what, may as well start putting damage out there. Another Pokemon in my deck that is basically really necessary for any kind of Empoleon deck is Dusknoir. With its ability, Sinister Hand, I can move damage around on my opponent's field in any way I want. But, like I was saying earlier, Garbodor shuts down all abilities. It shuts down Propagation from Execute, it shuts down Empoleon's Diving Draw, it shuts down Dusknoir's Sinister Hand. Basically, the only thing I can still do after Garbodor is out is Powerful Friends for more damage, because it's an attack, not an ability. And as you can see, on Michael's side, Garbodor is out, and it has the tool attached, so Garbotoxin is in effect. I cannot use my abilities. He can't use his either, but right now the only ability he really has that he might be worried about losing is Darkrai's Dark Cloak ability, which, when it comes down to it, doesn't really matter at this point. His Sableye is active, he could just junk hunt all day long. I think he'd really like a hammer here, just to get rid of that energy. Unfortunately, Empoleon is one of the only decks that's a very good counter to Hammertime, because everything that attacks only needs one energy. The point of Hammertime is to get rid of as many energy as possible. Not that effective when only one energy is in play at any given point, and all basics at that. So Michael just pal-patted there, put in a Juniper and an N, and what do you know? His random receiver got him his Lysander. And we were discussing later, he only runs one Lysander in his deck. What are the odds that the one supporter you don't want to get, that you only run one copy of, is the supporter that you hit with random receiver? That's just not fun. So there he just had a junk hunt for his turn, and off the end that he gave me, I got a Duskull, which I immediately benched. I got an Empoleon, which I immediately rare candied into. And now I could end. I probably should end here. I can Powerful Friends for knockout, but I need the energy in play. I'm sorry, not the energy. I need the damage on my opponent's board in play. That's the whole point of Empoleon. You never want to knock out your opponent's Pokemon if you can help it. The idea is just to spread damage and get the damage all over the board. So then in the last turn of the game, you can use Dusknoir's Sinister Hand to just move the damage all over the place and tick 6 prizes all at the same time. And the only real counter to Empoleon is, well, Garbodor is definitely one of them. That really sucks. But here's the thing, with Miltank for 1 energy, it can do, 80 damage if Empoleon's in play, or Dusknoir. Empoleon does damage equal to the number of Pokemon in play, both yours and your opponent's. So if I wanted to, I could attack with Empoleon at any given point, sometimes for even more damage than Miltank, all for 1 energy. And it's almost never enough to one-shot an EX, and that's a good thing. Like I said, you want the damage there to just move around and do as you want. But here, unfortunately, I didn't have much to do. I just knocked out that Garbodor. I'm sorry, I knocked out that Sableye, took a prize, and he promoted Garbodor. And I'm sure he promoted it just because it has a float stone and it can retreat for free. And here he's going to just Ultra Ball away 2 Darkness Energies and get a Sableye. That's exactly what he wants to do. Darkness Energies need to be in the discard pile if they are... that's just the way any kind of dark deck works, for now anyway. It won't work that way later. Dark Patch is basically an extra free energy for your turn. Since it comes from your discard pile, it doesn't count as attachment, and he just double Dark Patch there. Got both those energy that he just discarded with Ultra Ball, puts one on Darkrai, about to put the other one on a Sableye, then decides to put it on the other Darkrai, and then places in. So we'll see what happens. I would not doubt that he's going to promote that fully powered Darkrai very soon to knock out my Miltank and put 30 somewhere. I don't know what I would target if I was him. There's no damage on his board, so Dusknoir is not a threat right now. Plus, if he hits the Lysander later, since he played in there, it's back in his deck. If he hits Lysander later, he could just use it to bring up Duskull or Dusknoir, whatever it is at that point, and knock it out because that whole line is weak to Dark, which is what his deck is. So off of his end to 6 here, he got nothing but trainers. I really don't know what else he was hoping for. He's going to play that Verbank, no reason not to. It's obvious I don't play Tropical Beach here. I got an egg, I noticed that. It does me absolutely no good while that Garbodor is still alive, but he's going to retreat into Darkrai, Night Spear, knock out the Miltank, and he put 30 on that Empoleon just to soften it up, which I think is the right play. And looking at my hand here, I'm thinking of putting up the Piplup, and I decide not to. I don't have an energy. That's my problem. I can easily Skyla for something that'll get me an energy, but I don't know. In the end, I decided to just promote Miltank, and I honestly don't know what I'm going to do here. I could Skyla for the rare candy to get the Dusknoir into play, but there's no point in that. I'm going to Great Ball here. Look at the top 7 cards of my deck, and find a Pokemon there and put it into my hand, but I did not see a single Pokemon in those 7 cards. That actually hurts, and that's the problem with Great Ball. It's not a guarantee. With a deck as full of Pokemon as Empoleon, or basically any Miltank deck, yeah, it's really great. But every now and then you just simply don't hit a Pokemon. Usually any Pokemon will do. Unfortunately, I didn't get one there, so I really don't know what I'm going to do. I could Colress. I can't Diving Draw with Empoleon because Garbodor's in play. Otherwise, I would have done that a long time ago. And it looks like I'm just going to Skyla. Now I'm looking through my deck to see what I have. I see there's only 2 rare candies in there, which means one of them is prized. But I find the Megaphone. That's huge. Now Garbotoxin is no longer in effect. Garbodor needs a tool in order to use Garbotoxin. Now I can Diving Draw and hopefully get more cards in my hand. I need an energy here to attack. I can evolve that Duskull into Dusclops. I have the Dusclops in my hand. Or I can wait till after I Diving Draw to see if I hit a rare candy because I also have Dusknoir in my hand. So it looks like I'm eyeing the second. I offer Michael to cut, which he did not do before this point, and I hit the rare candy and the Dusknoir, and now my hand is basically identical to what it was earlier. I really wanted water energy there instead of another Dusknoir. I only run 2 Dusknoirs in my deck, and I had them both in my hand at the same time. So as awesome as it was to get a Dusknoir into play and get my abilities back temporarily, it just sucked. And as you saw there, Michael just played Random Receiver, got the Lysander again. What are the odds playing 2 Random Receiver in a game and hitting Lysander both times, which you only run 1 copy of? And second from top deck as well. It's still unfortunate for me that I wasn't able to get a attack off there, but what can you do? He ends up using his Lysander there to bring up Dusknoir, just because that Sinister Hand, he doesn't want that to come into play at any point during this game. He puts a Floatstone on Garbodor, and now Garbotoxin is in effect, and I cannot use abilities again. And after the look through my deck earlier, I realized one of my Megaphones was prized as well, so I could Dowsing Machine for my current one, or the one that's in my discard pile, or if I can, I should bring up that Garbodor and just try to knock it out, flat out. I believe there are enough Pokemon in play for me to do that. Garbodor has 100 HP, 5 on his side, 8 on mine. And unfortunately, okay, here's what's going on here. I tried to Propagation Execute into my hand and use Superior Energy Retrieval, but then he reminded me I couldn't do that because Garbodor prevented it. And since it was an easy reset, I just put the egg back in my hand and I'm sorry, put it back in the discard pile and put the Superior Energy Retrieval back in my hand. I was just trying to Superior Energy Retrieval for that 1 energy that's in the discard pile, and there's only 1. That's unfortunate. I ended up playing Colress there for 8. I'm sorry, for 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6? Yeah, look, okay, never mind, 6. Anyway, I just wanted an energy there, but I also got a Dusclops. I'm sorry, Duskull. They all started mixed together after a while. Anyway, so I did get the energy, though. That's what's important. Now I can Powerful Friends for 80. I really was hoping to hit a Lysander there for next turn. If I can get... actually, I think there are enough Pokemon in play right now that if I were to Lysander up the Garbodor, I could just knock it out. A Megaphone would be nice, but knocking out that Garbodor is even nicer, because he doesn't have another Trubbish in play. If I were to knock out this Garbodor, then the Garbotoxin would be out of effect for at least 2 turns. But he just used Ultra Ball there to get a Trubbish. And actually, he's not going to put it on his bench. He's just going to leave it in his hand. He probably wants that bench space for another Darkrai, because it's obvious that he needs to play a bit more strategically here. You know, Garbodor could be knocked out, but he has no guarantee I have a Lysander, and if I don't have one now, then it'll take a lot for me to get one very soon. He's just going to play a laser there, add the extra 10 to knock out my Miltank. It will not survive this turn. And there, he just benched another Darkrai. He's going to Dark Patch onto the Darkrai with an energy on it. Now it just needs one more to be powered up. And he's going to play Professor Juniper. My best bet is to knock out that Garbodor. That'll give me my abilities back, and then I could start taking easy prizes with Sinister Hand. Then he finally attached for turn. Now that Darkrai on the bench is all powered up. And he can Night Spear here, knock out my Miltank, and just put 30. If I were him, I don't know where I'd put it. He's going to actually put it on the Duskull, and that's probably the smart play. Now I'm going to promote my Empoleon. I think he has 3 prizes left. I drew an energy. That's perfect. Now Attack Command can either knock out this Darkrai. Oh, I have Lysander in hand. I could bring up that Garbodor and knock that out and get all my abilities back, and everyone's happy. Looks like I'm going to Great Ball again. Hope that I hit something off of this. Miltank would be preferable, and I did indeed hit a Miltank. And as you can see, it's kind of hard to see, but that Miltank is a bit miscut. There's way more yellow on the right than there is on the left. Yeah, I drew that from one of my boxes, and it was just so awesome I had to keep it. So right here, Michael's actually going to go into his collection and pull out a really miscut Donphan Prime to show off to me. So just a heads up about what's going on with that. Now, looking at the board here, Michael's in a much better position than I am, but if I can knock out that Garbodor, I think I might be able to make a huge comeback. That would still leave 80 damage on the board. If I can get a Dusknoir in play, that's Garbodor away. That'd leave me with 4 prizes. Unfortunately, then he'd just come back and knock out my Empoleon with Darkrai. However, that is one other advantage to a Miltank deck. Oftentimes they don't run EXs. I do run one EX, that EX being Jirachi EX, which I only run for its Stellar Guidance ability. When you play it from your hand onto your bench, you may search your deck for a supporter. It really comes in handy sometimes. I have not really needed to play it yet except once, and that one time really did help me, by the way. But as I was saying, the reason that Miltank decks of any kind are really powerful, another reason I should say, is that they don't run EXs usually. Which means whenever your opponent knocks you out, they only get to take 1 prize. So... yeah, someone handed me a legend piece there, Darkrai Palkia Legend. Not Darkrai, Dialga Palkia Legend. So right there, unfortunately, Night Spear is one way to counter that. Just snipe stuff on the bench as well. Now I believe he's only down to 1 prize. And there's not much I can do. So, I promote my Miltank. I really needed an energy there. I could Superior Energy Retrieval. I could Propagation if I wanted. In the end, I'm going to just Skyla here. I'm going to get the Rare Candy. I can Propagation if I want, because Garbodor is knocked out thanks to Empoleon last turn. I don't know why I would right now. I don't know what else is in my hand. Oh, Diving Draw. I can Diving Draw. Now, I got that Rare Candy. I didn't realize I had the Empoleon on my hand. That's perfect. I'm going to Propagation and then Diving Draw, and I got the 2 cards I did not want. Nothing that helps me. And I've raised my supporter. So I can definitely I'm going to propagation again, then use superior energy retrieval. I need just one energy, just one. And now I've got to get a whole 3 out of my discard pile. Which means there are 7 in my deck. I'm surprised I did not hit one off of all of those cards that I just drew. But at the very least, right now I can put 110 damage on the board like I was saying. That is the power of powerful friends. We have 1 energy, and all of a sudden, we are doing 110. But right here, Michael's just playing the Crushing Hammer just to say he actually played Hammertime for what it's worth, and plays Hypnotoxic Laser. Good game. And my 4 prizes were stuff that I really could have used. As you can see, Rare Candy, Megaphone, Empoleon, Sacred Ash. I only run 1 copy of Sacred Ash. It's really helpful. It's kind of like Super Rod, except it only shuffles in Pokemon, and 5 Pokemon at that. But anyway, long story short, that's how Miltank works, and I have another video coming up of much closer, much more fun battle that shows off more of how Miltank Empoleon works. But if you want a real video of someone really playing it like a pro, then I highly recommend Pokemon's channel. The Senior Nationals Finals match, Miltank Empoleon won. A in-format deck, by the way, not one that I made in preparation for next format. So anyway, I hope you all enjoyed this video, and stay tuned for a whole lot more. I've got awesome stuff planned for my channel in the days and weeks coming up.